Hi, I'm William Sullivan from the University of Illinois, where I'm professor and director of the Smart Healthy Communities Initiative.
And I'm Greg Gulick, Interim Chief Information Officer for the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Okay, today we're here to present to you about Rokwire, Illinois' Smart Campus open source platform. And we hope that what you'll learn in this presentation is exactly what Rokwire is, how we at the University of Illinois built it, and how we applied it to the COVID-19 crisis, and also how you can have access to this open source platform for your own university.
Greg, the promise of the information age is really staggering. We have all these sensors in the environment and on our bodies, and all this information that those sensors generate are going to lead to innovation beyond our dreams. We're going to have better decision making and higher quality of life for residents and visitors, better economic competitiveness, and some even hope that we'll have accelerated progress towards environmental sustainability. And there's going to be huge benefits for smart campus. There's going to be better research and better teaching and learning opportunities, improved wellness and quality of life for students and faculty. And there's even some hint of increased fiscal responsiveness. Smart campuses also employ sensors in the environment and in our bodies to collect and analyze and prioritize data that produce these benefits. And one of the great advantages of smart campuses is that they take advantage of the native habitat that students live in today, that is the smartphone. And although we have troves of data that are available to power smart campuses, we get to realize the potential of that data. We have more information than ever, but we use very little of it. That's because so much of the most important data that we collect are siloed. Most companies have developed proprietary software that allows their smart technologies and their IT systems to communicate with each other, but not with other systems or separate systems. Indeed, this is the critical barrier to creating a smart campus. We lack a comprehensive digital ecosystem that connects and integrates the various pieces into a whole that's so much greater than the individual parts. At Illinois, we're taking on this challenge with a great deal of energy and vigor. In fact, we've created this large interdisciplinary collaborative process across campus that involves over 100 people contributing to the Rokwire platform. Our solution to this data siloed problem. Rokwire is an open source platform for mobile devices that enables the smart, healthy campuses of tomorrow. Rokwire integrates multiple streams of information and systems. The code for Rokwire platform is free to any entity. And let me tell you a little bit about the vision that we use to develop it. Our vision is clear. We exist to enhance human capabilities and quality of life, to create healthier, safer, more equitable, sustainable places, to foster better decision making, and to fuel innovation for all. We're using our campus as a testbed, not only for developing the open source platform, Rokwire, but also for testing the first mobile apps that are built on top of this platform. Now that we've told you a little bit about our vision, we'll share with you some of the details about how we built it and how it functions. First, how we built it. Well, we started with a very interdisciplinary focus, and we talked to the people all across each of the colleges on our campus. We worked with the institutes and design center here with the Siebel Center for Design. We met with students in many of the colleges, here with students in the College of Engineering. We sought out experts and leaders from student affairs and housing and technology services. We engaged a range of experts on health and wellness and talked to them about how their expertise could inform our activities and processes and design. And we met with individuals who have responsibility for student success here with the Associate Dean for Students. We also presented our ideas in town halls and on conferences at campus and in individual meetings with colleges. And as a result of this really widespread participation, we learned a great deal about the challenges that face us with respect to people's preferences around privacy. I'll tell you a little bit about what we heard in just a minute about that. Our most important partner in this process were our colleagues from Technology Services, who have such depth of expertise not only in developing new products, but making sure that we have strong connections to our user base. So what did we hear from our colleagues? Our colleagues told us that they were very concerned about privacy. And one of the biggest concerns that they expressed was kind of what we call the big brother concern. The big brother concern is that the chancellor will be snooping around and figuring out if you're in your office. And the big brother concern is this notion that we might collect all your data, siphon your data, and sell it. People also express concern about equity and access. How are you going to make sure that everybody's got a mobile device? Are you going to track me, digitally track me throughout this whole process? And that makes me feel uncomfortable. People talked about data security as well. And how are we engaging in the best practices associated with data security? So here's how we dealt with those concerns. We took a revolutionary approach to privacy, and we don't own the data that users generate. The users own their own data. We never sell it or give it away. And we ask for consent and choice and provide people control over how their data is used and when they want to delete a portion of it or all of it. We use robust security standards. We're tapped into the best practices in data security to minimize risks and to preserve personal data, to reduce opportunities for data loss or misuse or unauthorized access to data. And we meet the standards for the California Consumer Protection Act and the Personal Information Privacy Act of the state of Illinois. We've developed two apps based on the Rokwire platform. The first is the Illinois app, and the second is the Safer Illinois app. We'll tell you about those in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Bill. Yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about the basic concepts of the architecture behind Rokwire and some of the things that have been developed already into the system. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the Illinois app and then how we're connecting and using this technology to help us through the COVID-19 response. So first of all, the way the Rokwire system is built, we have a logical concept called a building block, and there is a back-end platform that's been developed as part of the open source ecosystem. And in that platform, the back-end pieces of that are called building blocks, and they are logical breakdowns of functionality, which is essentially able to connect to clients like mobile apps or devices, voice interfaces through the rest of the architecture, which I'll cover in a minute. And again, these are all open source. So in terms of the existing building blocks that we've developed, you can see there's quite a list here. And the idea was that if we can provide some basic functionality that's reusable in these building blocks, it would be a real benefit to anybody who wants to pick up and implement the Rokwire platform in their environment. So we have things such as configuration and authentication, events management, health, which we'll touch on a little more detail later, and several others in here that you can see that are basic. And what these do is they provide access to the necessary data and API interfaces on the back end that bring the information forward to the user that enables their experience. We also have several building blocks in development currently. You can see along this list, we have a wellness building block because we're really focused on wellness of our university community, especially during these times. We have other building blocks around resource availability, notifications, door access. We've developing a wallet functionality that you can leverage for purchasing. Just a variety of these needs, which, as Bill pointed out, these functions came forward as requirements from a design thinking process that we engaged in with focus groups and users across campus. So the other aspects of the architecture beyond the building blocks are capabilities, and capabilities are a concept that really bring the functionality to the user or system interface in a way. And by decoupling that from the back-end functionality, It enables us the flexibility of giving people the ability to add new capabilities, leveraging existing building blocks, or to create entirely new building blocks if needed, if they don't already exist. The other thing about the capabilities is they can be open source or they can be proprietary. So in the case of the Illinois app, for example, the source code for that is all out in the GitHub repository for the open source platform. So people can leverage that under the license to reuse that code or add to it. And they can also submit new capabilities just like they can with building blocks. It's important to note that currently the endpoints that we're supporting are iOS and Android devices. We started down this path with a mobile first approach, knowing that that's where most people tend to go get their information on how they navigate a university environment or a community. But we also have work going on to add voice interfaces. And also additionally, we're looking at other IoT interfaces that we could leverage, that we could use to leverage the platform. So all this has been put together, and really the first sort of functional app that was built is called the Illinois app. You can go out into either the Play Store or the App Store and download this, and essentially it gives fundamental information based on who you are. It's personalized, you know, if you're a student or if you're staff or a visitor or an attendee at an athletic event, you get various functionality there. And so what's included currently in that are features for athletics, for fan experience at Illini games. There's dining for our on-campus dining halls, Illini Cash, which is the debit card that can be loaded with money and then spent. You can reload the card with the app. Campus reminders, events, quick polls, some wellness functionality, wallet. And then, of course, Bill talked about the privacy features. And one of the great features that's built here is the Privacy Center, which allows users to really manage and control what data they're providing to the platform, and also at any time to revoke that access and to have their data deleted from the platform. And of course, event parking, as we all know, is very important when you're going to a football game. Back in March, when the pandemic really came home to rest at the university, we had to really quickly pivot and think about how could we eventually reopen our campus in the fall and have measures in place to protect the community and allow us to continue to do face-to-face instruction and have other activities going on. And so there was a team developed, and they developed a concept called the Shield. And the Shield is a combination of surveillance testing, population analysis to understand where the virus might be headed next. And it's also the ability for users to get information about their test results and self-manage. And so the way that the app fit into this was we wanted to make the Illinois app capable of retrieving test results from on-campus testing and to provide that health information, which Bill will get into. What ended up happening is we built an entire ecosystem of data interfaces and systems that is in place to manage this process, this Shield process. And it's been very successful to date in keeping our positivity rate very low so that we can continue to function in a face-to-face environment. You can see that along here that there's something called the Safer Illinois app, which is part of this ecosystem.
Let me tell you a little bit about the Safer Illinois app. It's the second app that we built on top of the Rokwire platform, and we were able to leverage the development of what we've done for the Illinois app in a fashion that allowed us to move very quickly to provide new functionality in an effort to open the campus in a safer fashion in response to the COVID-19 crisis. Let me tell you a little bit about how it works. First of all, I should tell you that it's completely and fully integrated with the larger smart targeting and rapid saliva testing that we do on campus, in which we test every undergraduate 2 or 3 times per week, and everybody else once per week. The information, the saliva tests are generated through 17 sites on campus. The samples are collected and sent to a laboratory on campus where they're analyzed. The results are then sent to the campus health center into their electronic management bit database called Medicat. And for the students that have opted in, or students or faculty members who have opted in, they can get their data test results pushed quickly to their phones. As I mentioned earlier, we take a very sound privacy first or privacy by design approach in the development of Safer Illinois. We have very minimal data collection, and we're very secure about how we transfer these health information to people. The ways in which we deal with consent is simply by asking people to consent, to ask them to participate in exposure notification, to consent to turn exposure notification on and get their test results pushed to them, to turn location services on so that we can use Bluetooth to enable the exposure notification features. So exposure notification is a digital process that we use in combination with the contact tracing, and the local health authority is responsible for contact tracing. You may be familiar with that. That's when someone is diagnosed with the disease, then the local health authority gets the information about that person. They reach out to that person, then they interview them and identify people who have been in close contact with them in the last couple of weeks. Digital exposure notification is a process by which we engage privacy preserving technologies and techniques to help users of the Safer Illinois app know when they've been in contact with other people or other people's phones for a period of time after those people have been identified as having the disease. And we do this in a privacy preserving fashion. We've also integrated with healthcare providers. Test results get sent from the laboratory to the campus health center, and they're entered into the Medicat system, the record system, and they're pushed from Medicat to people's phones who have the Safer Illinois app. We've also integrated with OSF Healthcare. They use the EPIC system. The Safer Illinois app provides you opportunities to identify the symptoms associated with COVID-19. And very importantly, it provides a building entry status pass that's based on a set of rules associated with your recent testing history and exposure notification, whatnot. So if you're up to date with your tests and you haven't reported any symptoms and you haven't been the subject of any contact tracing or exposure notification, then you get a building entry status that looks like this: granted. If you're out of date in testing, in other words, you haven't tested on the schedule that you're supposed to, or you've had a contact trace or reported symptoms, quickly responds to any changes in your status by changing your building entry access. So let me pull this together and wrap this up here by saying that at Rokwire, we're building a digital ecosystem to enable the smart, healthy campuses of tomorrow.
If you'd like to contribute to this mission and be part of the transformation we're creating through Rokwire, we're interested in talking with you. You can contact either Bill or myself. The information on the screen, feel free to email, and you can also check out our open source GitHub site, and that link is listed also on here. So thank you very much.